Tonight, we will be reviewing federal government statistics relating to the labor market. In episode 2, we discussed the BLS's monthly Employment Situation Report. This is the data from their CPS and CES surveys. These are also known as the Household and Establishment Surveys and measure labor market data from employers, employees, and the unemployed. This gives us two primary measures of labor market status, which is the unemployment rate and the change in total non-farm payroll employment. But what we see in the headline numbers is just the net change in employment. If we want to get details, we need to look at the other metrics produced from the report data. On the BLS's charts page, in the Employment Situation Report section, there is an array of graphs that provide granularity into the CPS and CES data. Here are a few examples, starting with alternative measures of labor underutilization. This is the full series of U1 through U6 unemployment rates. A more in-depth explanation of these is in episode 2. This graph series shows the employment levels by industry. Looking at job sectors individually shows areas of recent decline, such as the federal government and information services. There are also areas of growth, or at least stability, such as private education and healthcare. This data is also represented in monthly net changes per industry, and this can be seen across several time ranges, including 1 month and 12 months. It is notable that this shows job growth in the private education and health services sectors as largely carrying the net job growth of the nation as a whole. Some examples from the household survey are people not in the labor force who want a job, showing an upward trend since 2023, and people unemployed 27 weeks or longer as a percent of the total unemployed. This is also increasing, which indicates it is taking more people a longer amount of time to find work. Finally, here's the labor force participation rate, or the number of total people either working or actively seeking work. This number has declined by a full percentage point from April 2025 to April 2026. This is one sign that the U3 unemployment rate of 4.3% appears misleadingly stable. If the labor force shrinks faster than jobs decline, this rate may not change at all, and may even go downward. This would also be reflected in the variance between the U3 and U6 rates. Another dataset published by the BLS results from the Job Openings and Labor Turnover Survey, or JOLTS. This is a monthly report that measures the total number of job positions open, how many people were hired last month, and how many were separated. Separations are subcategorized by layoffs, discharges or terminations, quits, and others such as retirement. This differs from the Employment Situation Report in that it focuses on churn more than net results. This answers some basic questions that serve as indicators of overall economic health. If the economy is not able to create jobs, it is a sign of overall weakness. Employment is a high-cost investment. And when companies are not investing in labor, it can be a sign of economic slowdown or of caution in the face of rising costs and uncertainty. The first data series from JOLTS is the job openings rate by industry. The current total is at 4.2%. What this means is that for every 100 open or filled positions, there are 4.2 vacancies. If this number is high or increasing, it is a sign of health as companies are actively hiring more. If this number is low or decreasing, it is a sign of weakness. For example, if we look at the IT and analytics sector, we see immediate signs of distress. The current rate is 2.8% and has slid heavily from 5.2% in July 2025. On the other hand, healthcare has dropped only slightly from last year and is at around 5.4%, which is higher than the total average. Comparing the three, you can see they all trend downward from a peak in 2022. This peak coincides with a period of 0% federal funds rate post-COVID, which led to a surge in hiring. As interest rates have increased and remained high due to inflationary pressures, this plus rising costs and overall economic uncertainty have driven overall job openings downward. Moving on to hires and separations, here we have a comparison of the two. This shows that the two are nearly evenly matched and have become even much closer in recent years. This corresponds to the no hire, no fire narrative that is commonly cited in the media, as net job growth is largely flat. Looking at the separation data broken into subcategories, the quits rate has remained persistently higher than layoffs. This is taken as a positive sign, as a higher number of quits generally indicates worker confidence in their ability to find new jobs. However, this rate is also largely flat, meaning there is no sign of considerable increase in quits or worker confidence levels. The number of unemployed persons per job opening is also provided by the JOLTS survey data. This currently shows that there are slightly more applicants than total job openings overall. This can be an indicator of slowing job market growth or stagnation. Finally, the JOLTS data also produces the Beveridge curve, which compares the unemployment rate from the CPS survey with the JOLTS data on job openings. This shows that they are quite even, but with unemployment slightly higher, there are less job openings than those who want them. A similar message to what we saw in the previous slide. The last federal labor statistic we will look at in this video is the Unemployment Insurance Weekly Claims Report. This survey is conducted by the Department of Labor, which is the parent department for the BLS. This report measures initial unemployment claims reported by each state's workforce departments. If this number is elevated or increasing, it is a sign that more people are involuntarily losing their positions. This report also measures the total number of people collecting unemployment insurance. Looking at the current numbers from the May 28, 2026 report, both of these figures are mostly flat. This might be taken as a positive sign, but unemployment benefits generally drop off after a maximum of 26 weeks for most states. This means that the total number of people who exceed this limit, and therefore no longer count in the metric, may be increasing. And as long-term unemployment increases, the U3 rate can appear to be steady or even dropping. There's a whole series of other labor market-related statistics, covering everything from wages and cost of labor to productivity and demographic composition. Some of those are shown here, but this is not a comprehensive list, and we will likely cover these in future videos. In the next episodes, we will look at state-level labor statistics, layoff statistics, private sources of labor market data, and the overall implications of the data covered.